you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix? With the Wicks here on this wonderful Monday, October 4th, 2021. And welcome to the show. Today we got to get to mainly all of yesterday's game. We're going to get to, I guess, not all of them, but mainly some of the some of the big points from yesterday that we kind of got to, address here on the show, I guess, if you will. But after all we do all that, we're going to dive right into the preview of tonight's Raiders versus Chargers game, which is going to be a battle. But like I said, we'll get to that later. First, I want to give a huge shout out to one of the friends of the show, a host or a guest host on Fantasy Football Friday with me, Y4. He performed last night. Hell of a job there. First time in 2 years. Did really, really well. Performed a lot of new songs that are not out yet, except for one, and that is Go. If you haven't listened to that yet, it is on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. It's called Go. I mean, it's simple. I'm not sure if it's on iTunes or any of that, but I know it is on Spotify, so go take a gander. And if you want to get more information, go talk to Y4, if you will. But let's get started. Are you ready to get your fix? Well, to start off the show today, we're going to talk about that Vikings-Browns game. I mean, it was a boring one, okay? A lot of ups, a lot of downs. Pretty solid game, though, for the most part. I thought, we battled. Both teams battled really, really well. Right off the bat, the Vikings moved down the field, scored. We're up 7-0, all right? I'm like, okay, let's go. We stop the Browns, and we get stopped, and the Browns go back. They score, okay? Now it's 8-7. And, eventually it gets to be 11-7 at half, and the rest of the game was just defense. This whole game was actually defense. Really low scoring, 14-7. The Browns beat the Vikings in their home stadium here at US Bank Stadium, which was a big one. And, I don't think, okay, as a Vikings fan, it sucks, right? But I do believe there is still some hope there for Minnesota. I mean, this is a really, really good Browns team, They're playing they played the Bills this year. They played the Chiefs this year. I mean, they put up solid fights. They should have beat the Chiefs in week 1. So that right then and there says, what kind of team that is. And for the Vikings to go, obviously 0-3 should be 3-0 to start the season, or not 0-3, 1-2 to start the season, I should say. Definitely could be 3-0. But, I mean, we got the Cincinnati Bengals win overtime. They ended up kicking the field goal. The Cardinals, Dalvin Cook did not fumble the ball. We win that game. Okay? Then the Seahawks. Okay, we beat the Cardinals. Last week was, the Seahawks. We easily put them, to rest, to bed. The Seahawks are an interesting team this year. We're going to get to them here a little bit later. But, for this Vikings team, I think, obviously the run game is where we got to figure out how to stop a little bit. I mean, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, awesome. Okay, these are really, really good running backs in the NFL. I think Cleveland arguably has the best 1-2 punch in that backfield because they can put up 100 yards like it's nobody's business. And we've seen that this Sunday, and we've seen it weeks before that, especially last year as well. So, and if one of them doesn't get the end zone, that's the person that's probably going to get the yards. Where Kareem Hunt maybe is going to be the guy that's going to score the touchdowns. And Kareem Hunt played very, very well. Nick Chubb played well. Baker played well. Even this Minnesota Vikings team, okay, we played well. Justin Jefferson was catching balls left and right. Adam Thielen was getting open. Kirk Cousins looked good. There was a couple times, though, where, you're just like, throw the fucking ball. Get that ball out of your hands. Come on, like, what the hell are you doing taking this sack? Now we're out of field goal range. Just makes this whole game that much harder to win, and we've seen that, especially losing this game 14-7. But I think there's a lot of upside for this Minnesota Vikings defense. Okay, last year, look, we were giving up plays left and right. People were putting up points like it was nobody's business. We were 4th ranked in offense. This year, I believe we're top 5, top 10 in offense, and our defense is playing pretty good ball. Okay, they're getting better each and every week. Yeah, we did win last week. We lost that week. So you'd think that's a little bit of a decrease in production or a digression or whatever you want to say in performance. But I think our defense is a lot better. than we, than we think, okay? We held them to 2 field goals, only 1 touchdown. Yeah, they did get that 2-point conversion, but the whole game was just a battle. Both of these defenses really were the reason, they won the game, okay? The defense battle was what won the game. Obviously, Cleveland was a little bit better. They got in a field goal range more than we did, but I think there's a lot of good things we can take from this. I think Cam Dantzler, even though he did just get on the COVID-19 list, he did very, very well, especially last year where, like I said, left and right, deep balls down the field. The guy was getting absolutely murdered on the football field, but he did a really, really nice job yesterday. So that's huge news for the Minnesota Vikings moving forward. But tough loss. We do, I believe, have the Lions at home or away this week. No, we are at home this week against the Lions. So that'll be an interesting game. I think the Vikings should definitely win that game. But, hey, being the Minnesota Vikings, we're going to probably want to make it close, like we just typically always want to do. And we'll see how it goes. I really hope this is a big, big win because that'll help momentum-wise. And, look, this is week 4. We got 13 more weeks in the NFL to turn this thing around. So I think we hold the brakes for now on the Minnesota Vikings. Being a bad team, I think they're an okay team. Okay, they're a good team. Their defense, they just got to clean up a little bit of some things, and they'll be solid. They'll be pretty good. Next, we're going to talk about Trey Lance. He finally got to take over for an injured Jimmy Garoppolo. He came out of the game with a calf injury. They weren't sure. Jimmy was like, we'll probably miss a couple weeks. Well, it turns out he has a calf contusion, and Dr. Garoppolo, as the tweet wanted to say, was kind of wrong. Okay, they're going to reevaluate his injury in a couple days, so probably 2, obviously, days, and he has a chance to play this Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals, who are also on a tear. They're 4-0. They're one of the 2 undefeated teams in all of the NFL. This is a big game for the 49ers, but a big thing for Trey Lance, too. We got to see him come in, have a nice game. Jimmy, he started this game kind of struggling, okay? 14 for 23, 165 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. You weren't really getting... You were getting this typical Jimmy Garoppolo that we are used to. He has been balling out, don't get me wrong, but I think he's going to give you similar stats, game in, game out, year in, year out, just like kind of a Kirk Cousins would do. And obviously, Kirk Cousins threw his first pick against the Browns, which sucked, but the man still has, 7 or 8 touchdowns, 1 interception on the year, so he is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL at this point, so hold brakes on that. But Trey Lance got a chance to come in. I believe it was at halftime. Got to play the whole second half. He went 9 for 18, so 50% right there, 157 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and he also ran the ball 7 times for 41 yards. Now, with this stat line, he did end up losing 28-21 to the Seattle Seahawks, but you got to think there's a little upside there with Trey Lance. I think it's not necessarily time to move on from Jimmy because Jimmy has been, obviously, the franchise quarterback there for a couple years now. Last year, he was hurt most of the year. But Jimmy is the guy still there for the San Francisco 49ers. They went and drafted Trey Lance to probably maybe replace him, but obviously it wasn't the right timing. Jimmy got the start at week 1 of the season, so this is Jimmy's team. They're going to reevaluate him, see, if he's ready to play football, if that calf is going to affect him, and if it's going to affect him, what do? Do you play him or do you not? They probably won't play him. Trey Lance will probably get the start, and he looked, really, really well. His pocket awareness is great. His scrambling ability is great. I guess not great. You could say good for all of these, and his passing is pretty solid for the most part. Not the greatest, obviously, only 50% completion. He has to make better decisions, but I think that's because he went out there, took chances, but you also got to realize he played a pretty solid Seattle Seahawks defense, but they're also not looking that great this year. But this is sort of some big news because Trey Lance could be, officially moving his way into being a starting quarterback in the NFL for, the next half of the season or the next end of the season or the whole rest of the season, I should say. So this is big news. Keep an eye on that. I'll continue to, kind of keep this in your atmosphere so you kind of know what's going on and if Jimmy's going to be the guy or if Trey Lance possibly takes over that number 1 spot. But another team that absolutely is dominating this year is the Buffalo fucking Bills. They just went out, beat the Houston Texans 40-0. Okay? This team has outscored their opponents 118-21 in their last 3 games. And by the way, they're on a 3-game win streak. They lost week 1, obviously, to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are now on a losing streak as well. So, I mean, that's something to worry about. They beat, obviously, the Bills, then they go and they lose to the Raiders, then they lose to the Bengals, and then they lose to the Packers. So the Steelers are looking like shit. They're probably not going to win that division. They're probably going to get last in that division if the Cincinnati Bengals continue to just impress and shock, like, literally the world. I mean, that team is incredible. But the Buffalo Bills, I have these guys going to the Super Bowl, if you, recall or don't recall. So right now I'd say I'm on a pretty good start. But, we talked about this. Okay, it's only week 4. 13 more weeks to go. Okay, 12 more games for pretty much, let's see. Yeah. No. It would be 13 more games. Excuse me. There's 14 more weeks in the NFL. 13 more games. But, hey, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, 114 yards. Dawson Knox came out of nowhere. He was supposed to be a good fantasy target this week for an injured. I can't remember who their tight end is off the top of my head, who their starter is anyways. But, that defense, I didn't think they were going to be that good. But these guys are incredible, okay? The Buffalo Bills sit at 3-1, I believe. They lost, obviously, to the Steelers. Now they're on a 3-game win streak. This team is going to win that division, okay, I think it's the AFC East with the New England Patriots, New York Jets, and the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins just don't look good at all this season. But the Buffalo Bills, 40-0. They dog-walked the Houston Texans. It just shit all over them. Just fucking said, see you later, how you doing, keep moving type of thing. And they're a real team, okay? They're gonna have a really good year. I have them going to the Super Bowl. I'm optimistic if they continue this run, they're probably going to win the Super Bowl. But I'm not going to make that pick 100% just yet because I don't want to, make assumptions too early in the year. Which also with assumptions, we talked about my power rankings. I'm going to be putting out my power rankings in the next. I think I'm going to do it after week 5 or week 6. I'm still debating, but for sure within the next couple weeks, power rankings will be out for the rest of the season. I should have started right away, but at the same time, we don't know who teams are. Like week 3 till week 5. Week 5 is really when we know who we have, what we're going to get the rest of the year, who's probably going to make the playoffs, who probably isn't going to make the playoffs, and that's next week. Okay, this is a short amount of time to figure out who and what teams are, what teams are going to make the playoffs. I think we can honestly say there are a couple already that are in the back of our minds that are going to make the playoffs. I already have, the Rams, the Cardinals probably make the playoffs, the Bills make the playoffs. There's teams, Green Bay is going to make the playoffs, the Browns might make the playoffs. So there's teams out there already that we kind of have a good feeling that are probably going to make the playoffs. But after this next week is really when we get a good sense of that. But the Bills, if they keep this up, they are going to win a lot of games and they are going to go far into the playoffs, probably get the 1 seed. But hell of a win, 40-0 over the Houston Texans. Awesome win. Mr. Trubisky also got to take a snap or 2 in that game, which, hey, good for him. Good for him. But that's still Josh Allen's team. Now, a little bit of more exciting news. Both New York teams, the Giants and the Jets, got their wins. The Giants beat the Saints 27-21 in overtime. The Jets beat the Titans 27-24 also in overtime. That fucking game, I don't understand why the Titans just didn't take the tie. I have said this in the past. I hate fucking ties. But do you really want a loss on your record to beat one of the worst teams in the NFL, the New York Jets? I'd rather tie them, to be honest. Okay, yeah, they had a chance to probably beat them. They got all the way down to, I believe, like their 30 or 20-yard line or something like that, and just shit wasn't going their way. Had a chance to probably kick a field goal, spike the ball on like 3rd down, make it 4th and a little extra, and fucking kick the field goal, tie the game, that's it. Or, just take a shot, an accurate shot, even though Julio Jones, or A.J. Brown were not playing this game, so that was actually a huge factor in the Jets doing as well as they did. Zach Wilson still 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Derrick Henry obviously is going to continue to ball out, but that was a big shocker. Like, I kind of was checking in and out of that game for a while, like thinking like, okay, how did this get to overtime? This Tennessee Titans, yeah, they are without a Julio Jones and AJ Brown, but they should still, kick the shit out of the Jets. I mean, this is a really good Titans team defensively and offensively. Yeah, they're missing 2 superstars, but they still have, people there to get the job done, obviously, and they couldn't do that. So it's overtime. I'm like, all right, this should be easy. Jets get to start with the ball. I'm like, all right, sounds cool. They go down, kick the field goal, 27-24. It's Titans' turn, all right? They go drive. They're driving. Some shit's going on. Some shit like it's all hectic or whatever, like from what I was witnessing or on Twitter and stuff like that. And then they get all the way down, and they're in field goal range easily. Okay, they could kick the field goal, tie the game, and they just don't. Like, they just take the loss. How you doing? Keeping it moving, and fucking they're going home now with a loss to New York Jets. And congratulations to the Jets on getting their first win this season and first win for head coach Rob Saleh. I mean, that's just huge. And on the Giants side, what the hell are the Saints? Like, the Saints are bad. This is a bad football team. Okay, they go out and they fucking shit all over the Packers easily. 38-3 or something like that. Okay, then they just snowball. Okay, can't fucking catch a break, can't really win games. They need Michael Thomas, and they need him very, very badly. Okay, their tight end's not doing that well. Alvin Kamara's having to do too much, and the defenses are picking up on that, having to put extra pressure or extra, like, they'll have a spy and they'll have a man on Alvin Kamara from here to there, and figure that out and stop him, slow him down. Once you slow him down, it was like, well, I don't really have that great of receivers, but then it's also Jameis Winston, who just got done throwing 30 touchdown passes, 30 interceptions in one single season, the only quarterback to do that in the same year or something like that. So I don't know what they got going on down there. It's not looking good defensively. I don't understand. Like, that's a good defense. It's a young defense. They've proven. Just a couple years ago, they were in the NFC Championship game. Okay, or not in the NFC Championship game. Or game before that, I should say. They've been in the playoffs multiple times, granted, yeah. They did have a healthy Michael Thomas. They did have a Drew Brees still back there. But this team is still, very similar to what it has been in the past defensively, for sure. Offensively, they still have a lot of key pieces there. But, this Saints team, it's going to be interesting to see how they finish out the year. I think once they get rolling into those division games, playing Carolina, playing Atlanta, I think things are going to finally pan out. They'll probably get second in their division behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because I still don't believe the Carolina Panthers are, a team in the NFL, like a good team in the NFL. They're, not a great team in the NFL. They're a good team. Sam Darnold's still doing Sam Darnold shit. Christian McCaffrey can't stay healthy. Robbie Anderson ain't getting the touches. DJ Moore's looking like a dog, number 2 receiver in fantasy, I believe, or number 3, something like that. He's doing incredible things over there, but they played shitty teams. Okay, and we seen them just get pounded by the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys kind of let them come back a little bit, but, Carolina's not that great of a team, but neither are the Saints, so what if we're looking at Tampa Bay, who's going to be a good team the whole season, maybe have more than 3, probably 3 to 4 losses throughout the whole season. Then you got the Saints, the Falcons, and the Panthers, who might just fucking, shit away their entire season. None of them make the playoffs. It's just, kind of all bamboozled over there. I don't know how you want to say that, but all those teams, the Falcons, they could have won. They were up 30-24, I believe, and then, 30-27. They let Washington come all the way down the field, score a touchdown, win the game 34-30. Falcons lose. They should have won that, like I said. But their team, again, that's like, they're bad defensively. Offensively, they're still bad. Cordero Patterson has to do everything, receiving, rushing. Mike Davis is a fluke. Sorry to say that. The dude, he reminds me, like, I think we've mentioned this, he reminds me of Case Keenum. Okay? Really don't know who this guy is. Can sort of play quarterback. Not a really good number 1 or starter overall, but he can be a good backup, okay? And then he comes to Minnesota, fucking starts, lights it up, has the Minneapolis Miracle. We go to the NFC Championship game. We lose, but okay, you're like, damn, this guy can actually he can play. Goes over, I think, to Denver. And nothing. I mean, the rest is kind of history. He hasn't really playing. That's what Mike Davis reminds me of. Okay, last year, Christian McCaffrey hurt. Mike Davis comes in, lights it up every single week. I mean, the man is a dog. He could get going. But right now, it doesn't look like he's getting going. It's just from what I've seen, they've had to use Cordell Patterson way more than Mike Davis. I think Mike Davis is still obviously a bowling ball. I did see him get in the end zone. He could get better, obviously, but I just don't think he's a starting running back in the NFL. But I could be wrong. Okay, I definitely could be wrong. He could all of a sudden just spark could, get lit and he could go. All right, he could have a really, really good year, but that's obviously up to him to figure out how that goes. I guess we're going to talk back to another team that is on fire. The Arizona Cardinals remain undefeated. This team, I mean, wow. I did not think they were going to go out and put up this type of performance against the Los Angeles Rams. I thought the Rams were actually probably the best team in that NFC West division with the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Cardinals. But because honestly, I thought that because defensively the Rams are crazy. Okay, Jalen Ramsey's finally playing, the best way he can. Moving around every single, switching up what receiver he's on when he's on them. Always maybe he's gonna blitz one play, maybe he's gonna drop back in zone, maybe he's gonna be man coverage, he's gonna be glued on somebody, maybe he's gonna play linebacker one play. He floats around. Okay, he's every single place on the football field. And then you got Aaron Donald, obviously, on that defensive line, who is arguably the best defensive tackle to ever play the game. And then you got the Arizona Cardinals. It's okay. I mean, what are you going to get out of them? Because it's they're a good team, but are they going to win? They're good. They're good enough to win this game, but they're not good enough to act it's a hard decision. You don't know who to pick, how to pick, and it's one of those things where you kind of want to stay away from, but then they go in. All right, they beat the Rams 37-20 easily. Okay, just walk out of there. I mean, it was perfect. Okay, now according to @FieldYates on Twitter, Cardinals are just the 5th team in NFL history to score at least 30 points and put up 400 yards of offense in each of their first 4 games and win them all. That's a pretty good stat. That's incredible. Okay, this Cardinals team is very, very good. They are still going to have to play the Rams, obviously, again this year. And the Seattle Seahawks, they're going to have to play, I believe, twice. I don't think they've played the Seahawks yet. I'd have to go look. And then, obviously, you got to play the 49ers, in which they are playing this week. And that Niners defense is still pretty solid. Okay, Bosa on that edge. Eric Armstead's still there. Fred Warner. They have some really solid defensive backs there. So this is going to be a dogfight. I expect Arizona to probably win this game, especially if Trey Lance starts. But, hey, if Trey Lance starts, he could obviously ball out, win that game for the 49ers, take that starting job, which will be interesting to see how that all plays out. But for right now, Jimmy Garoppolo is still, like I said, he's going to be reevaluated and could have a chance to start this Sunday against the Cardinals. But this Cardinals team remains undefeated at 4-0, the only team other than the Raiders who get to test that tonight. But before we get to that game, we're going to talk Brady, Belichick. My boy did it. He beat Belichick. He beat him 19-17 in one hell of a game. They had a really nice tribute video. Before, everyone was chanting Brady, 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 and then as soon as he comes on the field, they're like, "Boo, fuck you," and just the whole thing's going on. Okay, they did not want Brady to have any sort of luck going into that game. It was a dogfight till the very end, and I mean, it obviously should have been. Okay, I was watching this as the performances were going on. Other than Y4, but it was tough to watch. But this whole time, I mean, it was just like the Minnesota Vikings, Cleveland Browns game. Okay, back and forth, just a dogfight. Can't really do anything. Can't really stop the run. Mac Jones is a fucking beast for the New England Patriots. Completed 19 straight passes, which is the most from a rookie in 40 years, surpassing, I think it was Russell Wilson and I can't really remember the other name or whatever. And they only had like 16 straight completions, where Mac Jones had 19. Mac Jones and the New England Patriots looked very, very well. Okay, that defense, Bill Belichick knows how to coach some defense over there, okay? And he knows how to let, obvious. I guess it is Josh McDaniels over there calling the plays. So they have a good offense. For some odd reason, I don't know how that's working. They did spend a shitload of money getting Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry over there, Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne and all those players. So obviously they should have some firepower with what they have. But they played really, really solid football. And they could have won. Okay, they got all the way down. It was 19-17. Try for a 53 fucking yard field goal and it misses wide left, barely. But the thing about that field goal, he hits that. It's 19-20. Oh yeah, Brady has 2 fucking timeouts left and 55 seconds left on the clock. I mean, that technically would give him like a minute and a half, okay, of time to just march and kick a field goal or even score a touchdown. You do not give Brady 55 seconds of time left on the clock. We've seen it in the past, what he can do with the ball. He's going to win that game. We've seen it with Aaron Rodgers recently. We have seen this. You don't give the GOAT or GOATs of the game, okay, 55 seconds in the fourth quarter with 2 timeouts left to possibly beat you. You don't. Okay, he hits that field goal. I understand. Yeah, you get the dub. You have a chance to beat him with that stellar defense, and Belichick probably had something up his sleeve that could have probably won that game. But at the same time, it's like, it's Brady still. Like, Belichick, come on now. Figure it out. But he didn't have to do that. Nick Folk missed the field goal ultimately. Not New England. Tampa Bay takes a knee. Game over. Tampa wins. Brady wins his comeback. Or his reunion, or the return of Brady, if you will. He did break the most passing yards in NFL history. He beat that Drew Brees record, who was on the sideline during that game. So congratulations to him, my boy Brady. That is just spectacular. Probably going to be very tough to beat. Another record, though, that was broken by Ben Roethlisberger. He threw his 400th touchdown pass. But Rodgers scored, I think, 100, and he passed Dan Marino. I think he threw his 420th touchdown pass, which I think surpassed Dan Marino, which only had like 418 or 419 or something like that in his career. So good job for Aaron Rodgers. He also beat Big Ben, who, like we talked about earlier, the Steelers look like shit, and will continue to look like shit until they probably have to make a change or get Big Ben just rolling somehow. I have no idea what they need to do. Juju's tick-tocking too much. Chase Claypool's hurt. Deontay Johnson seems like the only guy that's doing anything besides or other than James Washington and Najee Harris, because Najee Harris, he gets like fucking 20 carries a game, probably, 10 targets, 12 targets from Big Ben. So it's like, come on, let's figure this out. Your defense wants to win games. Give him a chance to, please. Figure that out. TJ Watt's probably a little sore from his, groin injury a couple weeks back, but he should be fine. It's interesting to see how this is all going to play out, but Brady, ultimately, that's the moral of the story, beat Belichick in the return to Foxborough. Hell of a game. And now let's preview quickly that Raiders versus Chargers Monday Night Football. Remember, this is no Manning cast. This is the original cast on ESPN and ESPN Deportes, or whatever it's called. Excuse me. But this is going to be a very, very good game. A lot of people don't think the Chargers are that good. Right? They just, happen to beat the fucking Kansas City Chiefs. They're a good football team, but so are the Raiders. We're getting 2 good teams tonight. One's 3-0. One, I believe, they are 2-1. Okay? So, I ultimately think the Chargers are going to pull this off, because offensively, I don't know if the Raiders can hang with the Chargers. I just think that Chargers defense is going to overpower that attack of Derek Carr and what he's been able to do with Henry Ruggs and Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. You shut down Darren Waller. Raiders are pretty much screwed at that point. But then you look at the Chargers. They're going to have a tough time, I think, running the ball. They're still going to get it done, obviously, with Austin Eckler there. But I think they're going to really overpower the Raiders with that passing attack, going deep a couple times. They're going to hit Keenan Allen and Mike Williams a ton. I wouldn't be surprised if they even hit Austin Eckler quite a bit on those, little halfback screens or little, I don't know what you want to call it, but I think that's how the Chargers are going to beat the Raiders tonight, is by that passing attack, because I think this Chargers team is a hair better than this Raiders team. But, hey, like I said, we're going to find out in about an hour. So, with that being said, that is all I have for you guys today on the show. Go watch that game tonight. It is going to be a dogfight, folks. Raiders, Chargers, 2-1 versus 3-0. Let's see if the Raiders remain undefeated. I doubt it, but it could happen. Raiders, Cardinals could be the 2 undefeated teams in the National Football League after tonight. But like I said, we will see. Be ready for it. And you just got your fix with the Wicks. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.